Hi guys! In today's video, I have brought a beginner's guide for Winlator. If you don't know about Winlator, it is a Windows emulator that uses Wine and plenty of other third-party software to run AAA titles or games on Android devices. Even if you don't have an interest in playing AAA PC titles on an Android phone, you can still watch this video because I can confirm that after watching it, you will definitely learn something. Plus, if you watch the whole video, I guarantee that you will be able to run some decent AAA titles like Far Cry, Sleeping Dogs, Watch Dogs, and even GTA 5. Watch the full video and don't skip, because I explain everything step by step. If you skip, you will definitely encounter some problems, and I will teach you step by step. To emulate AAA titles on Android, first, you have to understand how it works. So if you run into any problem or error like crashing, you can work around it by yourself. Now, this app is a compilation of many other third-party software like Ubuntu Root FS, Wine, Box86, Box64, Proot, Mesa 3D, DXVK, D8VK, CNC, DD-RAW. I'll talk about the important ones, but if you want a detailed guide, you can check out this video by Luis Gaming Test. He explains it well and in depth. I will leave the video link in the description. Okay, the first thing is Wine, which is a compatibility layer capable of running Windows applications on non-Windows operating systems, such as Linux. And then there's Box86 and Box64. Box86 runs 32-bit games and apps, whereas Box64 runs 64-bit games and apps. And then there's DXVK, which is a Vulkan layer for DirectX and supports DirectX 9, 10, 11, and D8VK, which supports DirectX 8, and VKD3D, which supports DirectX 12, and Wine D3D, which supports DirectX 6 to 11, but it is slow. However, the Mali device doesn't support DXVK, D8VK, VKD3D, and turnip drivers. It only supports the VRLGL, which runs poorly and has very poor compatibility. Now let's talk about the requirements needed for your Android device to run Winlator. The first thing is you need an Android device with at least Android 10 installed and a Snapdragon device, especially with Adreno 6XX and 725/740 devices to run turnip drivers and DXVK. You can also use the VRGL overlay, but it is slow and has poor compatibility as mentioned earlier in this video. However, if you have a Mali device, then you don't have any other choice as DXVK, and turnip drivers don't support Mali. Additionally, root is not required. Okay, now I'll teach you how to get Winlator 6.1 APK. Head to the official Bruno Dev GitHub page or click the link in the pinned comment to reach the page. Once there, scroll down to the installation section and click on GitHub Releases. Then scroll down and click on Winlator 6.1 APK under the Assets tab. I've already installed it, which is why it's showing like that, but you'll have to download and install it. After installing the Winlator, first you have to install system files. While it's installing, it's a good time to tell you that it literally took me 2 days to make this video. Please consider liking the video and subscribing if you love this type of content. Okay, now click on the 3 lines, and then click on the Settings tab. Here you can change the Wine version. You can install to the latest official Wine version or even a custom Wine version. Here you can find Box86 and Box64 versions. You can leave them as default or switch to the latest version. Down here, you can find the Dynarec settings for Box64 and Box86. Changing these settings can improve performance or compatibility. By default, there are 4 presets: Stability, Compatibility, Intermediate, and Performance. Changing the preset affects both compatibility and performance. For example, If a game isn't performing well, you can switch to the performance preset. If a game is crashing, you can switch to the compatibility preset. You can also customize the settings if needed. For more detailed information, you can watch Luis's gaming test video, where he explains the DynaRec settings in depth. The link is in the pinned comment. Down here, you'll find the cursor speed and DRI3 extension settings. You can adjust the cursor speed to your preference and keep the DRI3 extension enabled, as it improves performance. Now click on the tick option. And now click on the 3 lines again and go to the Input Controls tab. Here you can change, edit controls import, export, and there are also some default presets like Virtual Gamepad, RTS, and Template with default 12, which you can edit. Here, watch me how I edit a default controls. Okay, now click back on the 3 lines and click the Container tab. We are now going to create our first container. Now click on the plus icon and choose a container name like I do. Next, choose the screen resolution. If you have a low-end device, you can select a lower resolution. If you have a mid to high-end device, choose a higher resolution, like I have chosen 960x544. You can even choose custom resolution. Next, choose the graphics driver. If you have a Snapdragon device, select Turnip drivers. If you have Mali, choose VirGL. Next is the DX wrapper. I've already explained what DXVK, D8VK, Wind3D, and CNC Draw do, and which DirectX versions they support. Since the game I'm trying to run works great on DXVK, I'll choose DXVK. After clicking on the settings icon, you can configure the DXVK version, frame rate, and maximum device memory. The DXVK 1.10.3 works well for me, so I'll set it as the default. Then you can choose between 2 audio types, ALSA and Pulse Audio. Select the one that works best for you. Then you can tick the FPS button as it shows the performance you're getting in a game. Then you can check processor affinity. Changing this setting can sometimes make a difference, as each game has its own optimal configuration. You can search for the settings of your favorite game to optimize performance. Now you can choose theme and background for Winlator container. And then you can choose the GPU name for the Winlator container and allocate VRAM. The GPU name is used if a game does not support the existing GPU, and allocating video memory can help resolve texture-related issues. Now there are Win components where you can make changes too, but I suggest keeping them at their default settings. And then there are environment variables where you can make changes too. It can make a difference if you know what you are doing, but if you don't, I suggest keeping them at their default settings. And then there are drive settings. By default, there are 2 letters allocated, D and E. D represents your phone's downloads directory, and E is the Winlator data directory. You can change the directory or add a new drive, but once again, I suggest keeping it unchanged. And then there is the Advanced tab, where you can choose the Box64, Box86 preset we discussed earlier. Additionally, there is a button to stop services. I suggest ticking the Stop Services option, as it reduces RAM usage, although sometimes games didn't work without it. All right, let's click the checkmark button to save the container settings and open our first container. And here you see it's creating our first container. Now click on the 3 dots and click on the Run button. And now it's starting up. And here you see the Winlator container is finally opened. Before playing the games, there are some features that I want to show you. In the Start menu of Winlator, under the Programs tab, you'll find the Games folder, 7-Zip for extracting files, Internet Explorer for browsing the Internet in Wine, Notepad, and WordPad. And in System Tools, in which you will find utility tools like CMD, Computer, Registry Editor, Task Manager, Wine Configuration, and Wine Mono Installer. Now I will teach you how you can change Windows version, which will help you in games which doesn't support Windows 7. Go to the Winlator Start menu, navigate to Program Tools, and select Wine Configuration. From there, choose the Windows version you prefer. For example, I choose Windows 10. You can explore many other settings there as well. And here you can find out which wine are you using. And if you click the back button, you will find many more settings like Task Manager, Magnifier, Keyboard, Toggle Full Screen, and Exit the Container. I will show you all the settings one by one. Okay, now we play some games, but before gaming, I just want to show you just one more useful feature. Now I will teach you how you can create Games Shortcut, and then I will show you some gameplay. Okay, right. Click the game by double-tapping on the screen while pointing the exe file, and then click on Create Shortcut, and then see the magic. Now let's exit the container, click on the 3 lines, and go to the Shortcuts tab. Here, you can see that a shortcut has been created. You can also configure settings of that shortcut. Now I will show you some gameplay of Need for Speed Most Wanted.
Hi, I'm Josie.
Attention Patrol Division, we have reported at least one mobile Code 6 driver followed by police.
I need all available units on this. Get them going, Code 3.
Remaining units, be advised, vehicle went BCB. Squad should be set up in the surrounding area.
Something wrong with your ride. You left a huge oil slick at the start line. You have to end the race fast.